Hey, how you doing? I was expecting you. Come on in, sit for a spell. We're going to dive into a next 72 hours portal report, but I wanted to do a little something different tonight because the energy has been pretty heavy recently with all the exposure of corruption and everything that we have been navigating with what's coming up and out in the world today. So I thought, let's dive into a focus for the collective for the next 72 hours that can show us how we can get really rooted, grounded, aligned, clear, and focused in such a way that we can feel more empowered moving forward and that we can take actions based in our higher consciousness that have the ability to transform our world and have a ripple effect, right? So I'm going to begin first by getting a general focus coming through here, something to just get our energy centered. And I'm working with my big deck of oracle cards. We've got the White Light Oracle, the Halloween Oracle, and the Sacred Rebels Oracle here. So mix of energies coming on through to just give us a little bit of a signpost for the direction we need to focus our actions, our energy, our attention, and intention over these next 72 hours to not only transform our own experience, but for it to have a ripple effect into the greater collective awareness. Bottom of the deck, we have the witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. And so this is really about harnessing our alchemical fire, which is our ability to take action, our ability to focus, to have determination, and to harness our will in such a way that it has a transforming power, first within us, then without. This allows us to be at the loom, so to speak, and has us in a position where we can spiral in a new kind of energy that builds the light on the web as well, on the World Wide Web. We had some interesting activity going down on the web yesterday. YouTube was experiencing worldwide outages. It also influenced X recently. We've seen that happen with PayPal. We've seen it happen with Venmo. I think this is something that is going to continue to be an issue too. I feel that this is sort of a testing ground right now to see how the public responds when access to certain online resources are taken out of our hands. And in relation to that, I actually feel that it's a call to connect on a deeper level, not only with ourselves and in ways that maybe have been abandoned into the archives of the past, and to get out there and actually connect with each other, connect with our community, also connect with ourselves instead of always being so distracted by what's coming down our feed, and instead really put ourselves in the center of that web of creation and weave our own thread into that reality to see what we can create moving forward here, to create more stability within ourselves, but also more stability in our connections, the connections that really matter, and really feeling rooted in how we're showing up in life and how we're using our will, our creative energy to be a source of transformation. And yes, things may be uncertain right now. We are dealing with this unpredictable energy. Everything is in flux. It may cause us at times to feel very vulnerable, but we must have faith in the process, especially when navigating the territory of the man, okay? And yes, it may be the man, and there may be 1% who hold quite a bit of power at this time, but we have to start really questioning that, because largely it's illusory if you think about it. There's only 1% that seem to hold the power. We have to start really questioning in ourselves and asking, when did we give our power away? And maybe that's a good place to start. And maybe looking at that on the microcosmic level. Where are you giving your power away? Where are you giving your free agency away? Where are you giving your own critical thinking, conscious awareness away to what is being spoon-fed to you by the algorithm? I think this is a good place to start, because once you can see through the illusion, then instead of it getting you caught up, you can master what is in flux. You can use that energy that's stirred up to try to generate some kind of chaos to be a source of what fuels your creativity. It allows you to move forward in a different way, to move unpredictably. And I think actually this is the greatest strength that the collective consciousness has at this time, is to not act in pre-programmed ways, but to move unpredictably. Okay, so this is about looking at things in a new way when facing these challenges that history will show us humans have faced before. It's just, this is our first round as the generations that are moving through the current challenges that we all face together. I also think a really important piece of this is to stop looking at what divides us so much and instead look at that connecting point that we're all in this together. So let's pull our energy together and find a way through. I have noticed that when I'm online and I'm talking to people in the comments section about stuff that's going on in the world today, people are very quick to come from a place of apathy and also lack of personal accountability. And they'll sort of push it off onto me and say, oh yeah, well, what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. It's like, well, actually, that's not true. I'm doing quite a bit that I'm capable of doing. And it does require each individual doing what they're capable of doing. But instead of getting into like some kind of combative argument or taking it personally, I use it as an opportunity to open up a constructive conversation. And I say, well, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I suggest we all start focusing on, because these are foundational steps to really root a new vision for the future for all of us. And what's cool about it is when I'm able to keep myself grounded in those online exchanges, then other people start chiming in. And soon we're sort of brainstorming together, and it's good. It's good energy. And there are a lot of people that are waking up. And I think we do need to focus on that more, that a lot of people are starting to recognize that maybe the conspiracy theorists aren't really tinfoil hat wearers after all. We might be on to something. And that alone is a little bit vindicating, I have to say. It is vindicating, and I'm glad that people are willing to start to look at the reality of things, and that we are able to go beyond fears or knee-jerk reactions and start to communicate about these things no matter what walk of life we come from. And I think that this is very helpful. Certain things that we're moving through right now have actually been unifying points, if you think about it, where people used to really be on separate lines. Now those lines are becoming blurred, and people are more coming together and saying, yeah, what can we do about this? You know, people are realizing we need to figure out a way to come together and not be sort of stuck in this pre-programmed divisory agenda that keeps us from really communicating with each other, working with each other, seeing how we can bring our energies together. So I think this is a good first step. Okay. All right. Bottom of the deck. Yes. Aurora of Gamma. Coming in with the number 27, breaks down to 9. Yes. How can I, as an individual, build the light in my own life, within me? How can I expose the places within me that are acting out of fear? How can I instead enter into the fray of everything that we're all facing and bring my light, my ideas, my actions forward in such a way that it truly aligns with my heart? And certainly this begins in your own relationships, in your own community, and the situations that you're facing. And this has a ripple effect. Okay, so we do have a Pathfinder card coming out here. So I think this, we have another one here. Now this is interesting because this one's kind of coming out as crossing. Whoa, and there's another one. 3 Pathfinder cards coming out here. Oh, are we doing the whole reality tunnel thing again? I don't know, maybe not. It does look like there's this energy here of bringing the light in is really important at this time, however you can call the light in. This is one way to bring balance into our personal lives and also into the world around us. I think we need a lot more highlighting sort of things that do make people feel more empowered, things that do lift people up. And it's not about being in a state of denial, because we have already faced a tower here coming in with the energy of the sun of 417 hertz. So 417 hertz may be a helpful frequency to work with. Also with the sun here, it does show coming in with the number 16 of the tower, that this disruption that we are experiencing right now and the exposure that it brings also gives us an opportunity to finally do something about it. And I think that's something that people need to focus on more, right? Just really building that light. Okay, the exposure can be unsettling. It can rock us. It can make us feel uncertain. But it also gives us a certain power that we didn't have before, because now that we do see what's going on here, and where we already did see it and maybe others didn't see it, that's helpful too, because now more people can come together in a common vision and start thinking of, first of all, how can we support each other through these changes? How can we come together in our friendship circles, in our communities, within our family, to really have support during these times? We don't have to move through these experiences alone, but it's also about really building the light of change and starting with ourselves, but certainly letting that ripple out into the world around us. And where you feel that you can contribute to some positive momentum, whether you're doing that online or in communications that you're having with your friends, with your loved ones, or maybe something you're creating or some kind of work, some kind of calling you feel you really need to put your energy into because you feel it can contribute something innovative or worthwhile in relation to moving us forward collectively in a more empowered way, then more power to you. That's a good place to focus the energy. And yes, oh, I love this. There is a vehicle forward with Garuda Suparna. This is Vishnu's vehicle. Actually, Garuda is the vehicle that carries Vishnu forward. Vishnu is the avenue, the way for the creative energy of Lakshmi to come through. Abundance, beauty, wealth, but wealth in spirit, wealth in knowledge, wealth in insight, wealth in experience, and wealth of opportunity when we move forward in this way. Also, when we look at eagle flies higher than any of the other winged creatures. And so eagle has a certain perspective that can pan out and move beyond these troubles that could keep us really grounded and mired in a state of apathy. And I think that's the most tricky part of what is being exposed. It's so necessary for it to come up and out, but I think a lot of times when people encounter that energy, it makes them feel very defeated. It makes them feel apathetic. It makes them feel like, well, there's nothing we can do, because if we try to do anything, they're just going to clamp down on us. There's certain rights that are just going to be taken away from us and we have no power here. And it's not true. It's the greatest illusion of all. The people do not have power. The people have absolute power. It's just that we need to recognize it. And a lot of times we need to lead that charge personally. We have to come into that awareness within ourselves. And then it's about how we show up in the world and how we put our message out there, how we connect with others, and what we can inspire in them. And maybe if you got a little light to share that light with others. If you've been holding back from bringing your perspective into the mix or joining some of these conversations, and I get it, especially online, and it can get really heated. It can get combative. You can't take things personally because people will come at you when you do enter these very polarized discussions. But if you can stay in that place of being neutral and just really rooted in the objective to bring in the light that kind of unifies people and look for those connecting points. That's a great transforming point that can move us forward here. And this is a light building time. I mean, we have to remember that the astrological energy that is playing out right now hasn't been in place since the revolution. So we're moving through revolutionary times right now. We are at a familiar juncture. We rose to a challenge before. We can rise to the challenge again. There's a lot that's transforming, and really in tandem, if you're paying attention, there is the counterbalancing of the light to these sort of concealed, subversive, heavy, dense energies that are trying to weigh the people down. There is the counterbalance to that, and there's a lot of progressive energy that's building too. So I think that's where we really should try to look to focus more of our energy, not on what has been exposed, because we know there's corruption, we know there's inequities, we know there's two sets of law, we know that things are really imbalanced here. So that calls us to now consider the solution. And how can we play a part in that? And first, that involves an inner recalibration, getting ourselves right, and really making sure that we're supporting the right things. And I just want to speak to this briefly because I think people get a real skewed perspective about what it means to affect change. They think that there has to be something really drastic done overnight. And in fact, that's not smart. It's not smart to move impulsively like that. This is really about getting grounded, really stable, and laying a proper foundation to transform the way things have been. And so I think the greatest step that we can take as a collective, as a worldwide collective, in relation to everything that's being exposed right now, is voting with our buying power. You have to look at what corporations are tied to these allegations and stop supporting them. Stop funding them. Stop buying from them. Stop giving them your money. And maybe that means you have to go through more inconvenient channels. You can't buy from certain platforms anymore, and you have to really maybe put more money into your local community. You might have to pay a little heftier of a price to not feed the pockets of these corporations that are tied to this corruption. And yet, if you start to take steps in that direction, it has far more of an effect than you will ever find in a voting booth. And if that is not undeniable at this point, I don't know what is going to wake people up and really help them to understand that everything needs to be completely restructured, because there's no way to build from the current framework that we have in place. This is why we've had that energy of you gotta break down the boxes. And that's only going to be fueled more so now that we have Neptune and Saturn in Aries. It's all about reinvention, innovation, stepping into your individuality, being willing to take up a torch and lead the charge, be the first out of the gate, and do things differently. So if you think you don't have any power, you do. You do. Does that mean you're going to have to start to give up some of your convenience? Absolutely. And you have to question yourself if you really have a problem with that. If you have a problem with that, you have to start asking yourself, why am I complicit with corruption? And that's a good place to start to have a self-inquiry. Maybe bring in a little bit of meditation around that and understand that we're all going to have to sacrifice certain comforts to create change. And the disruption is going to continue. It's the nature of Pluto in Aquarius. So, like it or not, we're not going back to the way things were. But that doesn't mean we're helpless. And it doesn't mean we don't have an ability to transform reality, because we do. And we already have a different perspective here than we had even just a few years ago. And that puts us miles ahead because now we can move forward in a brand new way. Let me do a cut of the deck, see what we got here. Yes, so joy, even as the illusions are falling away, joy that the old structure is starting to be dismantled. There's joy here in what is falling away, and that's what we need to connect with more. Then now we actually have an opportunity to be liberated from it. You can't enter moksha, liberation, without first sorting through the maya, the illusion. So this is good energy. And we can tap into the qualities that nurture us and that do feed the joy within us the more that we come into the present moment. So any way that we can anchor ourselves in the present moment is a good place to start. Because the fears are fed when we look through the filter of the past or when we start to project about what could happen in the future. When we stay very present, that is our point of power. And it's also our point of pleasure. It's where we can find nurturance. It's where we can find things that help feed the light in our life. So there's a lot of different ways that you can become present. Spending time in nature makes you present. Actually disconnecting from having to sort of have this virtual existence and tapping into real connections with people more often, that brings you into the present. Focusing on your art, your craft, whatever is your dream, your vision, something that gives you a sense of purpose, and funneling some of your energy there instead of doom scrolling all the time, that can actually really bring the joy into your life. It anchors you in the present, moving your body, getting physical. That can move you into the present, okay? So cultivate the presence. It doesn't just come through sitting in meditation, although those of you that are inspired that way, now is an excellent time to take on a meditation practice. It can really strengthen you. It can bring clarity. It can help you stay very anchored in your own soul's essence. And it also brings you into the present moment. It teaches you non-attachment too, so that when the fears do arise or when you do start ruminating on something that throws you out of balance, you let that become like a leaf that just floats on the river past you in your consciousness, and you bring yourself right back here, right back here, right back here. And so see if you can bring yourself right back here when you do feel yourself trailing off, when you do find yourself feeding the fears, when you do find yourself getting too caught up in everything that's going on in the world around you. See what you can do to bring it right back here and just remind yourself, okay? It's that simple. See, because once you do that, it anchors you in the moment. It brings the light forward that brings you into alignment, and it helps you scry what's up ahead and the best moves for you to take, because it puts you in direct harmony with your intuition, okay? So that's where you're really going to have access to the best guidance, is when you anchor yourself in the present moment. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Mr. Ted's wanting in. Do you need to go potty, Ted? Do you need to go potty? You need to go outside? Okay. I don't got your bed in here because you didn't want me to bring it in, so go potty. Okay. Hey, you need to go. You need to go out. You didn't want to bring your bed in. Come on. Come on. Come on. You need to go out. He hasn't been able to make up his mind lately about whether he wanted to come out or in, and I tried to get his bed back here and he didn't want me to bring it back. He was laying on it, so he didn't want to lay on the other bed. So Mr. Ted is now going to have to figure it out. What do we need to come from this week? We need to come from the water, the emotions. We need to get centered in our hearts. You see, it's about the balance. We've already had a lot exposed that was hidden under the light of the moon. And now with that exposure, we need to harmonize it with building the light in our lives through taking the action. That is the way through. It's also using what has been exposed as a source of creative power to transform the way we move forward here. We now have to look at moving forward in a new way. We now need to think of doing things differently. What's important is that we build the energy of love in our lives and come more into that place of intuitive awareness, the more that we can kind of come into that place of really acknowledging what we're feeling emotionally too. Coming into what we're feeling is very important right now, because there's a lot that's sort of fed to us that can distort the way we see things on an intellectual level. So anytime you're questioning things, the best thing to do is to drop into your heart, because if you really calibrate from that point, how does this feel to me? And you start trusting what you're feeling more than sort of what's spoon-fed to you, the more that you're going to find an avenue to actually take action through. You'll be guided in what steps to take, what's right for you, what's not right for you. I actually feel that there is something that is coming in here that will fill the heart space, that will nurture some hope, that will start to bring you more into a place of emotional equilibrium. But we need to bring our waters forward a little bit more at this time to work with that fire, so we can have a tempering quality of these energies we're working with over the next 72 hours. Yes. And then when we have the water, we actually have the way. The way opens. There can be flow. We can move something into motion, and we can have what's needed to nurture the vision and the growth for the future with Sister Earth here. Okay, so let's see any more details about the energy elementally that we need to align with. Yeah, I mean, this is it. There's a gift of fire. There's a gift of this transformation that we're all going through. We're all feeling the heat. We got to hang in there. We're almost on the other side of what we're experiencing right now. And when I say we're almost on the other side of it, I don't mean that this change is going to happen overnight. But as far as the moment of the initial shock of the tower, you know, we're almost through that, okay? I don't think anything would really surprise us at this point as far as what's being illuminated for us. But we have to understand, even as everything's burning down here, it is creating the ground for new growth. That happens even after a fire ravages the land. It does create a clearing for new growth. And that's the gift of fire that's coming through here. With all of this coming down, it provides a new avenue for us to grow something. And yeah, there may be grief around it, and there may be loss around it. And you may have a lot of heavy feelings around what's going on in the world today, especially if you're sensitive. You may be picking up a lot of the collective energy. But not only that, you may also see the way it's influencing your connections, the way it's influencing your personal life. Allow yourself the space to clear out your emotions, but understand that there is a way forward here. There's a way to bring about transformation, and it's needed. Even as things are being released and transformed, and we're having to let go of things that are difficult for us to release, they do provide an avenue for new growth in our lives. So get more curious about what is about to grow in this space. I think that's important. There is a gift that comes through the fire, and you do hold fire in your hand. So that illumination that you've received in your life, so let's just pan it out from a little bit of the macrocosmic energy and look at it on more of an individual level, where you have experienced illumination in your life and you've had to face some hard truths. Understand that though that may have been difficult, it does put power in your hands that you didn't have before. And this is what needs to be focused on. What is being asked to be grown from that space? See, and here comes the water again with the Aquarian energy. And that is the way through. Because now there is something new that can flow into reality. And it roots a new foundation here. This reminds me of sand dollars there. So there's a beautiful symbolism with the sand dollar about protection and treasures. And oh, right behind that, look at that high ace of sky. You see, flying high above the fray of it all. There's a sign here, a sign coming in, something that makes us realize that maybe we can save it after all. There's that sun peeking through, okay? So sometimes we have to face that kind of disruption before we do find a way through. So look for a moment coming in here over the next 72 hours where you do get some kind of release, some kind of emotional release, some kind of release from a holding pattern, a perspective, some kind of truth is really fully embraced, and you do start to recognize the power that you have in your hands. There's something that starts to open up in your heart space. The truth really aligns with your heart, and you do have an understanding of what you need to nurture now, what you are growing in this space. There's something coming through here to illuminate this for you, and it does bring you alignment with spirit. We got sky spirit coming on through here. So there is something that does give you directional solidity, anchoring, and it does put you at the center of it all. I really feel that. There is something that is shifting for you over the next 72 hours in relation to what you feel is possible, what you feel you are being charged to do here, and what's on the other side of what was maybe very difficult to acknowledge, and what now can grow in that space of what's been released, what's coming through on the other side, and certainly seeing glimmers of this too on the worldwide stage and how things are transforming on that level. Let me go ahead and get around here of the Gilded Tarot. Oh, I love it. Look, on the split, we have the Magician coming in with the Four of Wands, you see? There's a way to breathe life into where what we've seen is nothing but the curtain coming down, like the ending of a cycle. It's like, yes, it's the ending of a cycle. But do you see that brings an opportunity for realignment here? This brings an opportunity for celebration. This brings an opportunity to bring something into view that wasn't possible before. And we do have all the aces on the table here. So something is in a state of transformation. Do look for something to transform in your life over the next 72 hours. Even if it's just you really considering that you do have an opportunity to bring something to life in your reality now. I think there's something that's coming in here that inspires hope. I do see you taking some kind of action, setting something in motion, doing something here that's putting you on a different track in the next 72 hours. It may seem like it's something small initially, but it has a greater effect than you realize. It's like one action you're about to take is going to open up many doors for you and bring quite a few new opportunities your way. Yes. Yes, this is about, getting down from this place that you've been hanging out for far too long and using the illumination that's come through to actually make an investment with your energy to open the road here. You can only open the road by stepping out of the crossroads. So you're being called to take some kind of action in your own personal life to change the way you've been moving here. And that change, though you may not see it as such right now, is an exercise of stepping into consciousness, conscious awareness. And in doing so, it contributes to the collective energy. And the more of us that do that, the more of us that affect positive change in our personal lives, the more that the tide starts to turn, and the more we can come together with others who are also setting things in motion. And our new reality weaves in such a way. Okay, let me see what else wants to come in here for us. Bottom of the deck. It does require having some decisiveness here, making a clear-cut decision, and that is the transformation point, right? So there may be something you're making a judgment call on here, something you're cutting off over the next 72 hours. This could be a habit you have that you recognize is holding you back. This could be an association, an allegiance that you're distancing yourself from so you can get back into your own perspective. Could be the way you're spending your time, or how you feel called to bring your energy forward in the world. Maybe it's something that you're releasing here, or it's an idea that you're actually acting upon. Okay? There's some kind of decisive action you're taking here over the next 72 hours that is the groundwork for what you're setting in motion now. And it's going to set a new path in motion for you that you'll be heading down for quite some time. There's more to come in association with that, but this action you're taking over the next 72 hours is fundamental for what is up ahead for you. So, let's see here. And it was interesting, you know, with the way Ted came in there. So there could be something like that. Like you gave a situation enough time, you gave it enough opportunity to transform, or you saw something undeniable in a situation, and there was a certain decision that was called, and maybe somebody wants to reverse that decision now that you finally executed it. And you might have to hold the line with that too and say, hey, you know, you made your choice and I had to make mine. And that's something important to acknowledge here. Yes, I do feel that's what it was. You know, Ted always comes through to highlight a certain message, but I do feel that's what it was. You know, in order to head toward your son, there was something that you did need to make a decisive call on. You needed to release it. You needed to let it go, whether that's a negative habit you have, or a certain perspective you've had, or maybe it's even a grudge, an argument, you know, somebody you were butting heads with, or it was a difficult association, or something that was just sabotaging you in some way. Whatever this is, you made a judgment call. You passed through that gateway of initiation with the ring of fire, and you're already heading down the new path, okay? So you could have some that question your judgment, that try to tell you that you're not acting out of a place of clarity. This is when you really have to trust your own inner directive here. Trust your point of decisiveness here, because whatever it was on the mark. You invested quite a bit in a particular direction, and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And as a result, you had to head towards your star, that hope you have for something different in your future. Let's do a cut of the deck here and see what we got. And you're making the investment. You're laying down a new foundation here, and it leads you to your position of power. Now see, this is when you're actually pulling that dream out of the void and you're rooting it in material reality. This is the energy of both Saturn and Neptune in Aries. It brings us into the position of the Emperor. I like it. It's good. It's good energy, ma'am. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Arcane BS deck here, because it wouldn't be a portal report without it. So let's just kind of tap into this weird ass mystical shit for a minute here and see how it wants to weigh in on our focus over the next 72 hours. Any more details that want to come in for the collective here for these next 72 hours? Oh, yeah, I like this. Just hang loose, man. Hang loose. You've already gone through some tower. You already affected some transformation in your life. And now it's just learning how to surf the waves of change and hang loose. Get anchored in the moment. There's something here too that you're really pondering. It's a new beginning. It's an opportunity. I do like that you freed yourself from that hangman position. You did activate self-knowledge here. And you do have an ace in your hand. You do have a cosmic egg of creation here. And if you feel like, I haven't gotten that yet, something's going to get you down from hanging out on that tree and move you into action here once you see something and you activate your self-knowledge and stop maybe pulling the opinions of others and you actually get recalibrated with yourself. That's when you're going to find the flow. You're going to embrace the transformation and you're going to recognize the opportunity you have in your hands and you're going to activate its potential. So there's some gift coming in here. You got some ace. Looks like it's an ace of swords. First, the self-knowledge, the truth is going to come in. It's going to have you taking a decisive action. You're going to know what you need to cut off. You're going to have a different perspective of a situation. You're going to walk away from something that you've invested a lot of time in, but you're doing so because you know it's not what it was cracked up to be. And this is actually for your benefit. It's actually for your benefit. It moves you out of the crossroads, and now you got a new opportunity to create something much different moving ahead. And I see you really considering this. You're considering your first steps with this new action, this new opportunity. Okay. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Yeah, you're freeing yourself here. You see, the eagle is about to be freed from what's kept it grounded. So this is freedom coming in. This is the vehicle forward coming in. This is not being docile and complicit and going along with the program, something that keeps you really weighed down and in a place where you don't get to act out of your own empowerment. You're breaking the chains here. You're liberating yourself here. And I see you gaining new height here. So you're not going to feel like you're so grounded anymore. Definitely a new perspective coming in. Yeah, and see, this is like covering this card here that just flipped up, which is future not found. I mean, I feel like this is where you've been. You've been trying to figure out what's my next step and feeling confused, and everything's felt a bit like a mystery, or you felt like there's just too many secret things going on for you to even have a clear, accurate view of what's up ahead. But it's kind of interesting to me because the inner affects the outer. So your inner reality is what shifts your perspective of what you're seeing in the world around you, as within, so without. So I feel like it's needing to get clear within so you can have an accurate view of what's possible for you in the reality externally. So I feel like there's some big shift you're going through internally here. And there's sort of like a riddle you're resolving within, something you've kept secret even from yourself. It could be a desire you have or some idea you have for creating transformation in your life, or something you really want to do, something that you feel is worth investing in. Maybe for one reason or another, you've kind of pushed that down or repressed it. It could have had, you know, something to do with the judgments of other people or ways that you told yourself it wasn't possible. And yet there's something that's being gifted to you here. It does require you to face the truth. It does require you to feel the heat. It does require you to go through a transformation. But there's something that you're seeing here that's bringing an end to this perspective of, oh, I don't know what to do, and I don't know what my future looks like, and I don't know what's possible for me, to instead recognizing, oh, it's not impossible. I'm possible. I'm the one who makes it possible. And you're taking some action here that's bringing something much different into view. You don't see it right now. So I feel like this hasn't come in yet. See it flipped up again in the middle of the deck. The gravy funnel. Here comes the dawn. And this is something that you will represent. This is something that you feel like, yeah, I can represent this. This is something you get on board with. It brings you into balance. And there's something coming in here that's powering you up in a big way. And it is your vision for the future. A lot of protection around this. The gravy funnel, man. I mean, I like that. Okay, so this is your first indication of your dawn coming through here. 4, 4, 4, 4 on the clock. That is the truth. Go to the deck. And I do feel like you will really stand up and represent this to the bitter end. This is that Aries energy, man. That is the Ram. All the truths. You got all the truths here. You got them stored up. And you're standing on business here, and you're ready to face whatever you need to, come what may. I like this, because when the Aries energy gets in this position, that's when it's really acting out of its exaltation, you know, to have the strength, to have the endurance, to really stand up, represent the truth despite opposition, and still be able to hold that ground. That is the Emperor energy. Because there's a recognition here with Galaxy Dad, with Saturn in Aries, that you can't just receive the call. You actually have to answer it, and you have to put it in motion. Otherwise, it just sits there and your dream just kind of festers and nothing happens with it. And then you miss midnight, the most magical hour of all. But I don't see you doing this, man. I see you standing up and representing it. Something's coming in here. It's pouring into you, and it's giving you the courage and the power up you need to move something forward. So let me do a cut of the deck to cap this off, see what we got. I love it. You're not on your knees anymore, okay? Something's getting you up here. You're taking a stand for something. I love it. And it may be a bit of a mystery to you just who you are becoming now, because you see, now you got an Ace of Wands. You got this power in your hands you didn't have before. It's that same wand the magician holds up. And you're taking an action here. And it's aligned with your sun. And it's lighting you up. But it does require that you go deeply into the center of yourself and really discover who you are. Because there's something here you don't currently recognize. But you're about to. You're about to. Next 72 hours will be very transformational. There's going to be a lot of signs and synchronicities hinting at where things are heading for you and what you need to do to get up and take charge in your life to make things right, okay? And I do feel like there's a lot of empowerment there. So let's get some numbers. Some numbers of importance coming in here for the collective over the next 72 hours. We got 2. We got double 2s here. Double 2s make 4. Okay, so we're drawing a vision down here. It comes in intuitively, but it allows us to root it. Double 4s make 8. So it's the manifestation point. You got to trust your intuition here. You may also have your intuition aligning with another who really sees things the way you do. And this is creating a way to move on up toward that north node, free and clear, coming in the energy with 3 and 6, as well as 9. So we have life path 3, life path 6, life path 9, life path 1, life path 2, life path 4, life path 8, life path 5, life path 7. Okay, we also got Cancerian energy, Taurus, all the water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Aries, Virgo, Leo, Libra, Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio already came in. The water is coming in pretty strong. I feel this is that energy that is sort of the ripple effect of the grand water trine energy that we moved through. It's also the waterway really opening up. Since we just passed through that Stargate, we're moving into expansion here, and we are moving on up. So this is real good energy coming on through. So pay attention. Pay attention, and most of all, pay attention to your intuitive communication. It's telling you everything you need to know. And let me get some names, letters of importance here for us. Okay, we got wave. There is a wave of change coming through the next 72 hours. Ride it out. Remember, hang loose. Whenever wave of change comes through, you're going to do just fine with this. Just ride it out. Stay present, okay? I got dot, and it's coming through as dot, 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 like to be continued. This wave of change is just the starting point. It will have a ripple effect. It has a current of its own that carries things forward. Now, I'm going to bring it in because it is showing up. I have ice coming through here. So there may be sort of a big surge of that energy coming through, right? Continue to ride the waves, right? As these waves come in, there's a lot that is very impactful for moving us forward. And we need to stay centered no matter what we're facing here, right? I see date as well. There's a date of significance coming through over the next 72 hours. There's like a date you'll be saving here, or something that's being planned here, or an action you're taking that aligns with a specific date. I also got San Francisco coming through around this. And with that, I got, wow. Okay. So there might be something kind of surprising, like, oh my gosh, I don't believe it. Something you're not expecting. It may come out of left field. Whatever this is, it makes you feel jovial. Well, that's a good energy. Okay. So there is something here that lifts your spirits a little bit. Whatever this is, it makes you feel jovial. I do feel there's like a more jovial spirit coming through here over the next 72 hours because of something that is given to you. It's some kind of opportunity. It's an ace. It's something that shifts your trajectory in a way that you didn't consider before. Also, for those of you who are working on projects right now, you have a creative inspiration. Do not hesitate. It really is time to start directing your energy to focus on this. It will bring you a standing ovation. That's what I got. I think that there's some kind of acknowledgement, acclaim, arrival point that comes through you investing your energy in this way. Some of you are having meetings with your HR department, okay? You might be calling something out that needs to change. You might have been sitting on the fence about this for a while because you were concerned about how it would affect you, how it would affect your position. Stand strong in that. I think it's the right judgment call, okay? Got some news coming out of Arizona. Might be in relation to the Guthrie case. Okay. And I got DA coming in with that. So yeah, there might be some kind of forward motion in that case. Some kind of announcement too that's released on the World Wide Web. Okay. Which would be good news. Good news to have a break. Yeah, I got a break. Okay, there's some kind of break in that case coming through. that might lead to a prosecution. Okay. You know, it's gonna filter in. There's nothing I can do about it. The macrocosm will always filter in, so I don't want to stay stuck on this too long, because I think collectively we need a little bit of a break from some of that energy, but we also can't turn away from it. Let me see if there's anything else of significant that wants to come through here. It's interesting because I do see rest in peace here, but one of the initial cards that I got was unnecessary fear. And it came through, let me see if I can find it, with rest in peace, and it said unnecessary fear. So I'm going to say in relation to that, I just want to bring it through to just highlight it. Let's keep the energy high, all right? Let's keep the energy high. There might be some news that could lead to an unnecessary fear. And I'm just saying that because that was one of the cards that initially came out, was unnecessary fear. It came forward really strongly in the pre-shuffle too. So let me just highlight this for a moment here and find it. I'm also going to say in relation to that rest in peace, don't have fear around letting something go either, you know, feeling that that was maybe the wrong thing to do. There's some judgment call that you've made. It was the right judgment call to end something, to lay something to rest. Okay? That's for those of you who have been questioning it, because it is coming through as an unnecessary fear. All right? So let it rip, all right? Where you're considering taking an action to bring something to an end that you feel is an inequity, that's unjust, that needs to be addressed. Yeah, it's coming in with crypt energy. Let it be put to rest in the crypt, okay? Some things do not need to be revisited, all right? Anything else? That's what I got. All right. A lot to come through, man. A lot to come through. There is support here, though. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I don't know. I feel like there's a pathway. I have to bring it in. There's some path that's opening up that's going to lead to some discovery. And it may be in relation to DNA in the Guthrie case. I see it. I know that they had sort of a false flag on that. But I feel like there's somebody that's on that case that's following their instincts, and I think their instincts are really going to pay off and move something forward there, and it will open up a path that leads to some discovery, okay? I'm going to stick with it. It's coming through pretty strong, right? There might be like a DNA break in that case. There's something coming through that opens up a new path of exploration. And with that, I got DC. So Washington, DC. There may be some action taken in relation to this on a very national level, okay? It's coming through, some news out of DC in relation to this. All right, that's what I got for you. So stay tuned, more coming through here, but there's also positive energy set in motion as well. And in the meantime, Godspeed.